Hi everyone, I'm JT Pilot and today I'll be making another video. This time I'll be doing the 7th airport day at Norfolk International Airport. This is once again, this is the 7th airport day, and this is the first airport day of the year 2023. This is for January of 2023, so yes, the Norfolk International Airport day, we got some new models, and we got a few special areas that made their visits over at Norfolk over the past few months. And yeah, this update won't be as jam-packed as the next airport day, but this is still going to be a jam-packed airport day nonetheless, So we'll be starting off Terminal Alpha, then moving over to Terminal Bravo to start the Southwest area. So with the first Southwest aircraft here, the Southwest Bend 747 and the beautiful can blue livery bladed wings that fly an amazing engine models release. We'll say this aircraft is just rising from Nashville and will be making a return flight out to Chicago Midway. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the beautiful Southwest Bend 747 and the Heart Loose with Gemini wings, or 963 with November. We haven't used this aircraft in a while, so yeah. So this aircraft is rising from Orlando and making a return flight out there. That is a weekend flight, so one of the future over Tate's Airport Day. And Tate's Airport Day is based off of Sunday, January 8th, 2023. Alright, moving on to our next aircraft. Here, the American Airbus A319-100. This aircraft is just rising from Charlotte and making a return flight out there. Alright, so moving on to the American gates over at Terminal Alpha. So we have some special visitors over here, so starting with our first aircraft here, the NG models of American Airlines by the 747-800. This is the second normal livery release here. And this aircraft will be heading out to Miami. So that flight's been mainly on regional jets, but there's some mainline on that service. And that's mainline flights are typically on a 747-800 recently. The Maxes haven't really been at Norfolk for a while, so pretty unfortunate, but there you go. We're still getting Miami mainline, so that's great to see. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the highly beautiful NG models of American Airlines by the 747-800 in the Chrome Heritage livery. So we haven't used this beautiful engine model in quite a while, and this aircraft came in from Dallas-Fort Worth and making a return flight out there. The special livery did come in a few months ago, like in October or November. Just haven't got to feature it over at Norfolk yet, so there you go. Moving on to our next aircraft, here at the beautiful American Eagle Bird ERJ-175. This aircraft is operated by Republic Airways and will be heading out to New York John Kennedy International Airport. Pretty cool flight there. Grateful to see Z-175 still. And moving on to our next aircraft here, the American Eagle Bird ERJ-145. Ignore the mat doing its thing there. It's a little curly there. Yeah, so this aircraft will be heading out to Philadelphia, and this aircraft is operated by Piedmont Airlines. So that's it for Terminal Alpha. Let's move on over to Terminal Bravo. Alright, so moving on over to Terminal Bravo. So on the first aircraft here, the Breeze Airways Airbus A220-300. This aircraft will be heading out to Las Vegas. The Las Vegas service has been going pretty strong. Moving on over to our next aircraft, the Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ-900. This aircraft is operated by Endeavor Airways, and he'll be heading out to New York LaGuardia. Moving on over to our next aircraft here, the Delta Airlines with the 747-900ER. This aircraft is just riding from Atlanta and making a return flight out here. So the Atlanta mainline service has been all over the place recently. So we're still seeing the 757 service, which we'll see a little bit later, about once or twice daily. But over in that area, all the other flights that are daily, all the other daily flights to Atlanta have been on all sorts of aircraft, ranging from the A319, A320, A321, 747-800, 747-900ER. So the 747-900ER has been the most common out of those, but we have been seeing the A320 a lot recently as well. So Angels, you guys got to make it Delta A320. I'd definitely buy it. It'd be a great model to add over at Norfolk. But yeah, but anyways, this Delta 747-900ER will be doing the second morning flight out to Atlanta. Moving on over to our next aircraft, the highly beautiful Delta Airlines with 757-200. He will be doing the 5:30 flight out to 5:30 a.m. flight out to Atlanta. What a beautiful aircraft here. One of my favorite NG models for sure. And moving on to our next aircraft here, the Delta Connection CRJ-700. This aircraft will be heading out to Detroit. I believe this is a SkyWest flight. Not 100% sure though, but yeah. So once again, this aircraft will be heading out to Detroit. All right, moving on to our next aircraft is moving on to the United section. So here are the crappy flying dumpster United Express CRJ-200. Sad to see this back in Norfolk, but there you go. Glad we had the model of that at least. And this aircraft will be heading to Washington Dallas, and this is the Air Wisconsin flight. That flight has been really inconsistent on mainland. Sometimes it's on mainland, sometimes it's not. Recently, it's been on some CRJ-200s, but some aircraft like the A319, A320, and 747 has served that flight before. So yeah, pretty interesting there. This is also another good example of inconsistent mainline. Here at the United, but in 747-800, this aircraft is just riding from Houston Intercontinental and making a return flight out there. Normally that flight's operating on an E-175, but today it's only 747-800. Pretty interesting there. And this is the winter mainline for that service, because normally this Houston service on mainline is during the winter. So there you go. That's what's supposed to be this year, I do believe, but you never know. Moving on over to our next aircraft, the United Airbus A319-100. This aircraft has just arrived in from Chicago O'Hare and making a return for out there. That's a pretty typical A319 flight, nothing new there. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the United Express, Embraer ERJ-175. This aircraft will be heading out to Newark, and this flight is operated by Republic Airways. Alright, moving on to our next aircraft here, the Allegiant Airbus A319-100. This is that gray Panama's released here, and yeah, so Allegiant's been pretty consistent in Norfolk. Not too many services in the winter, but there you go. But we do have our Orlando Stanford service today. So this aircraft is just riding from Orlando Stanford and making a return for out there. That is typically an A319 flight. So there you go. Moving on over to our next aircraft. Sorry about the shaky camera. Moving on to our next aircraft. Here's the Frontier was the A320 in the Champ de Bronco livery. I haven't featured this model, so we're going to be featuring in Taste Airport today. I believe this came to Norfolk a few months ago anyways, so yes, and this aircraft has arrived in from Orlando MCO and making a return for out there. That is a Monday flight, but today's a Sunday, so I just want to include Frontier just because they're a pretty cool airline that serves Norfolk, so and something different too to look at. And moving on over to the final aircraft over at Terminal Bravo here, the Breeze Embraer ERJ-195. This aircraft has just arrived in from White Plains. It'll be heading out to Providence, Rhode Island. Haven't used this services in a while. I haven't said this services in a while in the Norfolk update, so we'll be seeing those once again today's airport date. Alright, moving on to some taxi aircraft. So on the first aircraft here, the Breeze Embraer ERJ-195. This aircraft has just arrived in from Tampa and be heading out to West Palm Beach. And those are ERJ-195 routes. They're pretty exciting. We get to use some actual E-195 routes. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the UPS 757-200. This aircraft has just arrived in from Richmond and will be making a return flight out there. Alright, moving on to our next aircraft here, the American Eagle Bombardier CRJ-900. This aircraft has just arrived in from Washington National and is currently taxiing for another flight out to Washington National. And alright, so moving on to the final aircraft of today's airport day here, the NG bound Southwest Airlines by the first Junior in the Tennessee 1 livery. So featuring this aircraft of today's airport day just because this is a brand new model in my collection, one of my favorite models, and this aircraft did come to Norfolk. So I believe it came to Norfolk in September as one of its first revenue flights in this new Tennessee 1 livery. But unfortunately, we didn't have a model of it then because NG took a few months to release it and produce it. So we finally have it in today's airport day. Wanted to feature it. So this aircraft will be heading on to Baltimore. And yeah, this aircraft will be heading on to Baltimore. A pretty typical Sun Stranger flight. And alright, folks, it does conclude today's airport day. So once again, this was the 7th Norfolk International Model Airport Day, and this was for January 2023. So yeah, today's airport day was a pretty quick update, but yes, next month's airport day, next time we do an airport update in Norfolk, which will be in March, will be pretty exciting. We got the Spirit Airlines inaugural service, which is going to be pretty exciting. So we'll definitely mention and feature in the airport date. And we'll finally have a FedEx aircraft because I just ordered a new Gemini Jets FedEx Boeing 767-300F, and that is the aircraft they send to Norfolk on their Memphis service. So we'll finally have a FedEx model over at Norfolk. That's going to be pretty exciting. So yeah, cannot wait. So yes, and yeah, so yes, but yeah. Yes, but in the future, I plan on, here's the plan for the future. So I still plan on doing Norfolk Airport dates in the future and Jacksonville updates, but I do plan on ending Southwest Suffolk soon. The airport update series is getting repetitive. I want to replace it with a brand new airport series, which is going to be some sort of retro series. So, yes, it's going to be pretty exciting. But, yes, I really want to focus on my quality of airport dates this year. So, yes, that's one of the, my goals of this year. And, yes, and downsize my collection a little bit and not have bunch of duplicate models. That's why I'm not doing random airport dates anymore, because I just don't have to have free Delta Sunford Stone Schneiders that on standby in case I do some sort of random airport date. So I just want to downsize my collection more, and this focus on Jacksonville really, and still do Norfolk updates, of course, because this is my home airport. So yeah. And yeah, other than that, that's it for today's airport day, and that's it for the channel update. So I'm JT Pilot, and I'd like to thank you all so much for watching this video, and have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.